You are Locked On Nuggets POSTCAST, powered by Mile High Sports, part of Locked On Sports Denver on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, Nuggets Nation, and welcome on in to your Locked On Nuggets POSTCAST. I'm your host, Aniello Piro. You guys can follow me on social media at MediaByAP. Do me a favor, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button as well. That way you guys never, ever miss an episode of your Locked On Nuggets POSTCAST. 5 games remaining after tonight for the Denver Nuggets as the postseason is now rapidly approaching. And Denver, winless in their last 2 games, going 0 for 2 on the back-to-back. Obviously, a lot of conversation, not just locally, but also nationally after the outcome last night with Denver against Minnesota. And we get to about, a few hours before game time here, and we find out that Michael Malone has opted to sit all of the starters tonight. So your starting 5 tonight for the Denver Nuggets, it was Jalen Pickett, who we will talk about plenty throughout the course of this show, Russell Westbrook, DeAndre Jordan, Hunter Tyson, and Zeke Naji. So a couple of vets and some of the young guys getting some run. Just about everybody played tonight. I mean, everybody that was active did play. Saric got some minutes. Spencer Jones got some extensive run. Vlatko Čančar got some extensive run, and Trey Alexander as well. So a good learning opportunity, a good conditioning game for players that are not going to play in the playoffs, minus Russell Westbrook. And look, if you're looking at just the stats, you'll probably say, hey, Russ actually had a pretty good game. I mean, within spitting distance of a triple-double, 30 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 11 of 25 shooting. He was uber aggressive, 3 of 10 from 3 as well this evening, a 0 in the box plus minus. But if you watch the game, in particular the last handful of minutes there, Denver had the game tied up with about 6-7 minutes left in that fourth quarter. And, right around the 4-minute mark, everything just really started to fall apart for this Denver Nuggets team. And there was a couple of sequences there with Russell Westbrook that were just tough to watch. I mean, just inerrant layup attempts, throwing the arms up in the air, looking for the call. And look, it's hard to criticize the guy when he goes out there and puts up 30 points and nearly leads the Denver Nuggets bench unit to a victory here against a, Wemby-less and De'Aaron Fox-less San Antonio Spurs team. But I just don't know what Michael Malone is going to do come playoff time, because as I said on last night's episode, look, I think Russ has been good. This is, I still believe it, the best basketball he's played in the last 4 or 5 years, better than the Lakers, better than the Clippers, all that type of stuff. But you're starting to see the exposure of Russell Westbrook. I keep wanting to say Russell Wilson. I don't know why. Both, far from what they were in their primes of their career. But, point being, like, Russell Westbrook is a liability out there. And specifically late in games, I know we had a comment on the show last night. Somebody was like, you can play Russ 24 minutes a game, just don't close with him. And I agree with that. If Denver's going to rely on Russell Westbrook when they get to this 8-man rotation, maybe a 9-man rotation in blowout games come playoff time, I mean, Russ should be there to bridge the gap with the bench unit, give you some minutes, get Jamal off his feet a little bit, get Joker, all these guys off their feet, and just not blow a lead. Like, that is Russell Westbrook's role with this team right now. It should not be, we're putting in Russ to help push us to victory, because you saw it last night against Minnesota. He's a liability out there. I rewatched that sequence I don't know how many times today. And I mean, it is just terrible. And I know that was yesterday, and there's a game to talk about tonight with the Spurs, and Russ put up 30. But I think you're seeing, a guy that's aggressive. The agent of chaos is what Josh Dover likes to call him over at Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. And I agree with that. And it's not like he's completely unplayable. Like, you have to play Russell Westbrook, just considering the overall dynamic of this roster here right now. But the thing you've got to keep in mind here is who's going to be your best option late in games? Who's going to be the guy that gets those backup guard minutes in critical times, fourth quarter, when Jokic sits the first 3 or 4 minutes of the period, right? And I just think, it'll probably end up being Russell Westbrook, but there's a player tonight that I think, and I've talked about him time and time again, that I think is making a real case to be inserted into this playoff rotation. I really believe it. And again, I think you can play them both at the same time. And if I had to close with one, it's not Russ, it's Jalen Pickett. And tonight, Pickett made the player with the most to prove tonight was Jalen Pickett. I understand from a narrative perspective and a belief perspective, it was probably Russell Westbrook, but Russell Westbrook, one game against the San Antonio Spurs, that's not going to change any opinion of what he is with this Denver Nuggets team. and what he will become playoff time. But one guy that I was very interested to see how he performed tonight, considering obviously how last night went. Obviously, looking on the lack of depth that Denver has at that guard position as well. And frankly, just someone who's continuing to play good basketball was Jalen Pickett. And he finishes tonight delivering in big-time fashion his first NBA triple-double. Got the assist on the final possession of the game for Denver, but he finishes with 17 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists, 3 of 6 from 3, 6 of 13 from the field. And I talked about it extensively last night. Here's the thing. Even when Julian Strawther gets back in the rotation, I'm subscribing to Jalen Pickett. Guy's a stud. I think he's got a lot of talent. And he's 6'1", right? So undersized for a guard at the NBA level. But the reason why I go with Jalen Pickett over a Russell Westbrook or a Julian Strawther. Again, Strawther's got the upside with the shooting. Russ has got the experience, although it hasn't really paid off for him recently. And he can grab rebounds. And he's been there and done that, former MVP. But the one thing that Jalen Pickett is going to do for you, steady. Not here, not there, not here, not there, not up and down. Jalen Pickett is going to be right there in the middle. He's going to be consistently good. Maybe not great. Obviously, tonight he was great. But again, against San Antonio, is he going to be great again? He was good last night as well in his limited run against the Minnesota Timberwolves. But Denver is not in a position to shoot themselves in the foot as they have been here recently, in particular post-All-Star break with Russell Westbrook. Russ was great early in the year when Jamal was out with the injury and Jamal was struggling. He provided a much-needed jolt to this team without a doubt. But the way that I see it is I think Jokic, the big fella, was able to kind of, I don't want to say mask Russ's deficiencies, but get the best out of Russell Westbrook at this point in his career. That's how I truly feel. And so with that being said, where you get in the playoffs, it's the pressure cooker, right? More pressure on Jamal, more pressure on Joker, a lot of pressure on Michael Porter Jr. than last year and obviously the year prior. Because now you're kind of in this prove it mode. People are doubting you. Everyone saw that game on national TV last night. You cannot afford to shoot yourself in the foot and experience self-inflicted wounds. And the one guy who I think plays to the strengths and complements Nikola Jokic and company is Jalen Pickett. And they were even talking about it here on the postgame show. Vic Lombardi was talking about it. Is this guy going to crack the rotation? Katie Wingy asked Chris Dempsey about Jalen Pickett. So this is obviously, if it's a conversation on altitude, if it's a conversation within the building, as it was last night with the media members as well, where there's smoke, there's fire. And I know there's a lot of people out here that are not Michael Malone guys that want to move on from Michael Malone. I am not one of them. But the one thing I think Michael Malone can do, and it might not make a win or loss difference at the end of the day. It might not. But Malone is notoriously stubborn, in particular in the pressure cooker late game situations. But the one adjustment that Michael Malone could do with the roster as is that I think improves Denver's chances ever so slightly. It's not like we're going from here to here, but gives them a better chance, is get Jalen Pickett in the game late. Let him play. The only downside is you're a little worried because, he's essentially a rookie, right? Last year was his rookie season, but didn't play much, spent a lot of time in the G League. But Denver is lacking something. And if you can't get the consistency that you're looking for from Julian Strawther, if you can't get that same consistency across the board from Russell Westbrook, you might as well play it safe. And I think Jalen Pickett is the quote-unquote safe route here, the safe choice, the safe option. He's going to play clean. He has a little bit of floor general in him, shifty around the basket, high IQ player. I just think Jalen Pickett should 100% get some more opportunities with this Denver Nuggets team. So that's that. But all right, let me know how you're feeling. You guys agree, disagree? What are your thoughts on Jalen Pickett here as he records his first career triple-double tonight, 17, 11, and 10 for J-Pick? Love to see it. But go ahead and drop some comments, guys. I'm going to hit my first break. When we come back, we'll continue along with the conversation. We'll take a look at everything else that went on in this game tonight. Tough scene for Russell Westbrook. Again, my buddy Jake Shapiro over at Denver Sports. I'll tell you this headline after the break. He's got a story that's going up on the site, and the headline is brilliant. So we'll hit a quick break, come back, and do just that right here on your Locked On Nuggets postcast. All right, you guys, real quick, let me tell you about our friends over at Prize Picks, because baseball season is in full swing and there's no better way to get in on the action than with Prize Picks, the best place for daily fantasy sports. With Prize Picks, you pick more or less on at least 2-player projections, and if you're right, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, Prize Picks keeps every game exciting. This week, I'm picking Aaron Judge for more than one home run and Shohei Ohtani for more than one stolen base. It's that easy. Setting up a lineup takes less than 60 seconds, and when you win, your payout is quick, safe, and secure. I always take advantage of Taco Tuesday, where Prize Picks offers discounts on select player projections for even more value. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 off your first $5 lineup. Not $50 off, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. And let me also tell you real quick about our friends over at Monarch Money, guys. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. Now I budget smarter and save more. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever as well. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off of your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. And welcome on back into your Locked On Nuggets postcast. I'm your host, Aniello Piro. You guys can follow me on social media at Media by AP. If you're watching on YouTube, do me a favor, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button as well. That way you guys never, ever miss an episode of your Locked On Nuggets postcast. Jalen Pickett at the podium right now, getting interviewed by the media. I'm sure he's feeling pretty good about his game tonight. No Nikola Jokic, but there's still a triple-double as he finishes with 17, 11, and 10. So a nice game from Jalen Pickett. Gave you Russell Westbrook stats, and really nothing earth-shattering beyond that. Zeke Naji, 8 points in his 23 minutes, grabbed a few rebounds, had an assist. Hunter Tyson, who I'll talk about here in a moment as well, solid game from him. 18 points, 6 rebounds, hit 3 of 9 from 3. And DeAndre Jordan, rough game offensively for him, but he does finish with a double-double as he goes, I guess it wasn't that rough. He was 6 of 12 from the field. I guess just in the spurts that I was locked into, he didn't look so good. But double-double for DeAndre, 10 and 17, and he was 2 of 4 from the field, 6 of 12 from the free throw line here as well. So good stuff across the board. Good effort. Again, it's a loss, but they had no starters out there, right? And again, it was a winnable game. Russ doesn't be Russ, and obviously you got a lot of young players out there. Denver probably has a chance to steal this one. I don't even know if steal is the right word because it's a game that Denver should win. But again, no starters. It kind of just, it was a little bit of an exhibition tonight for the Denver Nuggets. So as I mentioned, Dario Saric, 4 points off the bench, Spencer Jones with 4 of his own, Vladka with 8 and 7 from Trey Alexander. Let's talk Hunter Tyson here real quick because unlike Jalen Pickett, Hunter Tyson is not going to even be considered for playoff minutes unless Denver's either blowing the team out or getting blown out themselves. But 18 points tonight for Tyson, 3 of 9 from 3. He's a guy as well that I think could play a role on this team moving forward. A true 3-and-D guy, high 3-point shooter, just much like Jalen Pickett, I just think needs the experience, needs the run to go ahead and get going. So we'll see what the future holds for Hunter Tyson next season, probably play in the summer league as well. But I just think the skill set is something that's applicable to the Denver Nuggets and that they're something that they're a little devoid of right now as well with the 3-point shooting. So just something to keep an eye on moving forward. But it's kind of a quirky game, right? With there being no starters out there, you kind of get this extended look at guys that only play in garbage time and they'll be better for it 100%. And again, I think the conclusion that I came to, not that a triple double from Russ would have changed my mind anyway, is Jalen Pickett's ready to go. Jalen Pickett can be a guy. Jalen Pickett, I think is an option or should be an option rather come playoff time. Whether or not Michael Malone ends up going down that road remains to be seen. My gut tells me he won't. Just knowing how Malone coaches, how he loves Russell Westbrook. He was out there defending Russ after the game last night, despite all of America knowing that it was just an unacceptable sequence. So it is what it is. But all right, that's going to do it for me, folks. Your final score here, once again, 113-106. Denver now 47-30 on the season, 25-14 at home. San Antonio gets to 32-44 respectively as well. So weird game, no starters, Pickett show, Russ being Russ. That is the explanation of this one in a nutshell. But on your way out, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button for me, guys. That way you guys never, ever miss an episode of your Locked On Nuggets postcast. Golden State coming up on Friday. Only a handful of games remaining. We can count them on one hand now. We'll see if the Denver Nuggets can finish this regular season strong. Have a good night, folks.